welcome to another booktube video from me, Lauren, from Lauren and the Books. I hope you're all doing very, very well today. Today's video, I'm showcasing you some of the stuff on my shelves behind me. So you'll know from the title of this video, I'm going to be showing you all of the graphic novels that are on my shelves. Now, 4 of them, I've actually got a lot less than I thought, and I think it's because I only really hang on to my books if they were, well, most of these are unread, and the ones that make it to book heaven, which is the top shelf that you can't see, I'll show you it. Ba-ba! They're either my favourites, which is all this side, so 5-star books, or my Penguin Cloth Brown Classics. So because I don't hang on to graphic novel, because I don't hang on to books unless they're a 5-star, and something has to be really, really special to make it as a 5-star, and that doesn't seem to have happened very much with graphic novels. That's what I'm trying to say. So I wanted to show you all of the graphic novels on my shelves, unread and read. And I also wanted this to be a space down below because I do love reading graphic novels, even if they don't potentially stay with me for a particularly long time or often make it to my favourites, because I think it's quite a quick experience. I really, really enjoy them. And I've got some great enjoyment out of them over the years, and I would love to hear below in the comments your favourite graphic novel, or one that's been on your shelves for ages and you're looking forward to reading. Just tell me about the graphic novels. But today we're going to be talking about the ones that are on my shelves. Now, what inspired me to do this is that my Patreon book club, hello Patreon book club friends, we're reading a graphic novel in May. Our genre, or our theme, we pick a different theme every month, and the theme is graphic novels. And the 2 books that are up for the vote, and the vote's going live today, so by the time you're watching this, the vote will have been decided, are these 2, which are both on my shelves and both unread. And I thought, once I saw that, once I decided that we'd be reading graphic novels, I thought, well, this would be a great opportunity to show you guys and talk about some graphic novels and to hear in the comments from you guys. So let's talk about these 2 which are up for the vote first. These, as I said, both unread. Then we'll do the other 2 that are unread. Then we'll move on to the ones that have been read. So first of all, we got Wake, The Hidden History of Women-Led Slave Revolts by Rebecca Hall. And this is illustrated by Hugo Martinez. So yeah, I mean, it does what it says on the tin. What I do admire a lot about graphic novels, and particularly these sort of like non-fiction ones, is that they are not afraid to take on difficult and intimidating subjects, which are difficult to speak about in word, let alone via visuals and pictures and stuff like that. So it says here, women warriors planned and led slave revolts on slave ships during the passage across the Atlantic. They fought their enslavers throughout the Americas, and then they were erased from history. In Wake, Rebecca Hall, a historian, a granddaughter of slaves, and a woman haunted by the legacy of slavery, tells their story with in-depth archival research, struggle with the word archive, and a measured use of historical imagination. She constructs the likely past of women rebels who fought for freedom on slave ships bound to America, as well as the stories of women who led slave revolts in colonial New York. Beneath both is Hall's own tale of a life lived in the shadow of slavery and its consequences. Strikingly illustrated in black and white, Wake explores both personal and a global legacy. Part graphic novel, part memoir, it's a powerful reminder that whilst the past is still gone, we live in its wake. Sounds bloody amazing, doesn't it? And then here is a illustration of Rebecca done by Hugo, who is the illustrator here and there on the back. But let me show you some of the art then, so that you can get a feel for it. As it said, strikingly illustrated in black and white. You can see that it's very, very strikingly illustrated. There's some more pages. But yeah, I mean, it sounds amazing. What I'm noticing here is that there's a lot of it is, there's a lot of conversational bits. So here there's a lot of like speech bubbles being used. So it's going to be told sort of through people speaking to each other, I guess, as well. It looks great. So there we go, that's that one. So that's up for the vote. And then also I've got Fun Home, a family tragicomic by Alison Bechdel of the Bechdel test. You know, Fun Home is a brilliant and read the word in front of you, Lauren, not the word that's on the line below or the word that's about 3 words ahead. Fun Home is a fresh and brilliantly told memoir marked by gothic twists, a family funeral home, sexual angst and great books. Like Marjane Satrapi's Persepolis, which I've read and I don't know where that is anymore, which is a shame because that was one of my favourites. It's a story exhilaratingly suited to graphic memoir form. Meet Alison's father, obsessive restorer of the family's Victorian home, funeral director, high school English teacher, icily distant parents and closeted homosexual who, as it turns out, is involved with his male students and a babysitter. Through a narrative that is alternately heartbreaking and fiercely funny, we are drawn into the daughter's complex yearning for her father. When Alison comes out as homosexual herself in late adolescence, the denouement is swift, graphic and redemptive. So let's have a look at some of this as well. So again, we're using a sort of quite a simple colour palette in the black and white, but with like shades of blue or like a grey green maybe. But a lot more text, it looks like, in these in this one compared to the previous one. So there we go. So yeah, those two are the ones that are up for the vote on Patreon Book Club. If you're interested in joining Patreon Book Club for the month of May, you just need to be signed up by the beginning of May, by the 1st of May. And just drop me a message on Instagram to find out which one won, if there's one in particular that you like the sound of, and if that one's won, then you might want to join. Then the other two that were on my bookshelf and unread, I've got Alison by Lizzie Stewart. I love this front cover. So it says here, Alison is newly married, barely 20 and struggling to find her place in the world. A chance encounter with an older artist upturns her life and she forsakes convention and her working class Dorset roots for the thrumming art scene of London in the late 70s. As the thrill of bohemia romance leads inevitably to disappointment, Alison begins to find her own path through art, friendship and love. The artwork in here is lovely. So here's this. So I'm looking forward very much to get into this. It's just just feels very relaxed, the artwork. Here I am talking about art. I know nothing about art. But like the sketching and stuff, it feels very familiar maybe. And there's also bits in here like this, so like scrapbook type bits going on as well. Oh God, look at that. Absolutely gorgeous. So this is a piece of art as well as being a tale about art as well. So yeah, looking forward to that as well. And then the last one I've got that is unread before I move on to the read ones is Spell on Wheels by Kate Leth, Megan Levens and Marissa Louise. I picked this up because I heard Jean talk about it in her best books of last year and I thought that sounds absolutely amazing. And I managed to get a second-hand copy. And yeah, this looks really fun. So it says here, a road trip story, a magical revenge fantasy, a sisters over misters tale of three witches out to get back what was taken from them. Andy, Jolene and Claire aren't your average 20-somethings. They're legacy witches making their way through a modern world. When a genderless, non-magical ex breaks into their home and steals a spell that could awaken potentials with magical powers, the witches plan their revenge. Travelling down the East Coast, they must retrieve their powerful stolen artefacts and strengthen their friendship because the big bad is even worse than they imagined. So just looking from that front cover, I feel like I'm going to love it. This is more of a sort of like traditional, I guess, comic strip like artwork, and the first that's in like full colour that I've shown you so far. Lots of fun sort of mythical characters we've got in here. I love witchy stuff. So yeah, that is exciting too. So then I've got 4 more. As I said, surprised that I've only got 8 on my whole, like out of like over 300 books, only 8 of them are graphic novels. We'll start with 2 that did make my favourite shelf. So, like I said, not many, I don't hang on to many of them because I don't make my favourite shelves. This is, the first one is one I actually bought David and I've ended up loving it so much. And this is, whilst a graphic novel, it's more sort of like graphic non-fiction, I guess. This is Food Anatomy, The Curious Parts and Pieces of Our Edible World by Julia Rothman, who is the author and illustrator of also Farm Anatomy and Nature Anatomy, which are 2 books that I do really need to check out because I loved Food Anatomy so much. And this is just a whole book about food and I loved it. I love food fiction anyway. For instance, like, look at this. This is right up my alley in terms of like food writing. So this is just decades of what sort of stoves were being used and cookers were being used. And then, I mean, one of my favourite pages is the page with all the pasta on it. But yeah, there's lots of it. I'll show you, like, so here, like, sushi page. And there's just so much interesting stuff here. Talking about another one I really like, so sandwiches. I mean, who loves a sandwich? But like all sandwiches from all over the world and what they might have in them or where the shape of their bread might have come from or what the texture of their bread's like based on where they are in the world. That's actually, there's 2 pages of sandwiches. But yeah, I mean, I can't not talk about the pasta page and then not show you because, oh, there's a whole nother page about bread as well. But yeah, like just so interesting. And then with little recipes. Here is the pasta page. I would love this on a t-shirt. I do have a pasta shirt, but look at that. Isn't that so fun? And yeah, the drawing style is like right up my Strasser. And I just find it so interesting. And it's split into different sections. And it has like an introduction. It's told through food for four, eat your fruit and veg, a grain of truth, the meat of the matter, Dairy Queen, street food, season to taste, drink up, and sweet tooth. And then it's got like an introduction to the author and how she got into like these sort of things. So yeah, absolutely love it. Brief history of food. Really enjoyed this. Like, gave it 5 stars. And like I said, there's also farm anatomy and nature anatomy, so I need to find out if I get as much from them as I did from this, but absolutely love this. And then the other book that made it, the other graphic novel that made it to my favourite shelf is Glass Town by Isabel Greenberg. Isabel Greenberg is also the author of the Encyclopedia of Early Earth, which is quite a popular graphic novel, and the 100 Nights of Hero. I liked both of those books, sure, but this has got a special place in my heart. Now, I think this special place in my heart might be related to the fact that I received this book just as we went into lockdown, the first ever lockdown. So I got this book, so this was published in 2020, at the beginning of the year, and I got it like the week before we went into lockdown. And it was a very stressful, panicky time for all. But we did cosy reading nights throughout lockdown every other Friday. And that first cosy reading night that we did, I read this and I remember feeling calm for the first time in as many days as the lockdown and COVID and stuff had been going on, because I was just really connecting with a book. Now, let me tell you what this book is about. You don't need to hear about how much I've connected with it and how lovely and calm I felt. But this is about the 4 Bronte children. You know, the actual Bronte, Charlotte Bronte, Emily Bronte, also Anne Bronte. Still haven't read Anne Bronte's book, I must read it. And Branwell Bronte, who I didn't even know existed before this. And it is about a world that they have invented, Glass Town. And they've got this, they've sort of made this sort of like a, I guess like a multiverse for them, and they've got different characters that they play within Glass Town, and it's about their plots and the characters that they have within there, and they're all like, as you all know, they're all writers with magnificent imagination, so this is like something really special. And it mainly focuses on Branwell, but yeah, I loved it. And I love Isabel's like art style. Quite often it's this with like hints of a colour or like a base colour used as well. But then when they're in Glass Town, things are in full colour, which is a really special thing. Here they are again, in Glass Town. And then let me find another one where they're not in Glass Town. There's a lot of Glass Town action happening. Oh, look at that one. And yeah, this drawing is just like what I would love to do. So there we go. Really would highly recommend this. But also, like I said, the Encyclopedia of Early Earth and the 100 Nights of Hero also have enjoyed, but this one was my fave. So those are the 2 that have been absolute faves of mine. Then 2 more that I've read and very much enjoyed. And I'm not quite, well, I know why we've hung on to this one, because this is actually David's, and David really enjoyed this. And this is The Gigantic Beard That Was Evil by Stephen Collins. And I got him this for Christmas 2015. To Pooh Bear, Merry Christmas 2015. Your beard isn't evil, but I thought you might like this graphic novel. Love you lots, Ploppy. 2015. I do like to write in a book with a little note. And yeah, this is a book about a beard that's evil. So you're on an island which is called Here. And yeah, there's a beard that just keeps growing and growing and growing. So I'll show you some of the artwork. It's all in black and white. Here it is. And a little bit more. I imagine if you've got somebody with a beard, this would be a good present to them, as I gifted this to somebody I know with a beard. But yeah. Despite it being in black and white, I find the whole thing very warm. Like the illustrations and stuff, I find them very warm. There's another bit about it. So there we go. And then the last one is one that David's mum bought me. And this is Anne Frank's diary, the graphic adaptation. This is adapted by Ari Folman, and the illustrations are by David Polonsky. So this is the story of Anne Frank and her diary told through graphic novel form. But this has since been made into a film called Where Is Anne Frank? With the illustrations and the animation done by David Polonsky, and following the character of like the sort of premise of this book, with like looking for Anne Frank through somebody else. I can't really explain it very well, but it's very well done and beautiful, and would recommend going to see Where Is Anne Frank if you can. This is what the artwork's like. Again, a bit more in that sort of like comic-y feel, but also this has got a lot more text, I guess. There's a lot of like sort of titles to the pictures rather than chat between them. I particularly like this page. So yeah, there we go. So those are 8 graphic novels that are on my shelf. Very much ones that I have enjoyed, ones that I'm really looking forward to. Well, I mean, the ones that I've kept because I really enjoyed the Anne Frank one as well. Would love to hear, as I said, any of your graphic novel recommendations down below, ones that you've had on your shelves, ones that you're really looking forward to reading. Would love to hear all about them, and I'll see you all again soon for another BookTube video. Goodbye!